his death. Because no less than a minute or two after I said that, it decided to hard lock itself. For no reason whatsoever, it just came out of the blue and locked on a sound and said, "That's it, you're not going to be doing anything, so bear with me while I put up the blue text and get things back in and make sure that, for starters, that the stream is still going, because, well, it should be." You think he clanged my PC? Yeah, it clanged itself, alright. It clanged itself right out the door. Sorry about that, guys. BSOD/hardlock. Fun. Okay, well, let's just try some of the basics here to make sure that I can even do some simple things, like get Mr. Music going again, so you guys can listen to something other than me just talking here. Load the playlist, because, you know, switched over to doing this all over my phone, or off of my phone now, but it looks like it remembered to save my settings this time. Hey, what do you know? My music is not drowning me out like the last time I restarted VLC. The playback's not working, but what can you do? Jeez, I am just waiting for SE to kick back on here. While it loads, I can work on VLC, because this plugin is something I have never worked with before. That work? Yes! Hey, there we go. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So, apparently, as a result of that crash, Space Engineers has decided to reset every one of its settings. I'm shitting you not. See if I can get... Yeah, thank you, OBS, for finally showing that. Yeah. And if I kick in, if you're wearing headphones, watch out. Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Headphones like me. Okay. Now I gotta turn on every single... Okay, let's get this all figured out. Rotation hints, crosshair, control hints. Not want to be tracked, thank you very much. Oh, good grief. I don't know why it just blew away the entire setting there. But that is really flipping annoying. Oh, post-proc off, thank you. On audio. Controls later. How much did I lose, game? We got the saves, at least. Have you lost? Nope, I still have those. Okay, good, so I haven't lost any of those. This is going to be apparently one of those days. Not only do I blue screen the computer, but... yeah, it's before the Rover was even built. Okay, we'll be starting from scratch on this design. There are days I honestly do almost feel like Keen is trolling me, but I know that this would take... for them to troll me to this level would take something... I almost want to say a little bit out of their ability, honestly, to target individual people. I mean, let's face it, with all the little bugs that keep creeping into the versions, including this one, here's the mod loading bug going on, for example. We'll just sit here for the better part of a half hour while it's figuring out what to do about these mods. In the meantime, if this was a multiplayer server, I'd be getting told the server was not responding, which is a complete lie. I do have it in the log files. In fact, actually, let me, while we're waiting for that to load, let me pull up the... wanted to try to show this to you guys at the end of the Uncooperative Survival stream, and we kind of ended before I could do it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the log file snippet that I grabbed from that night. Trying to load into the game. And you can see, if I zoom in a little better here so you can actually see what I'm doing, because God knows what 4K looks like squashed down to 1080 at this point. You can see that it is downloading the world mods. It is happily getting all of the details. It even knows that Wedgehog left the server because he was having the same connection problems I was having. And you can see there's the mod list, everything being loaded up. It knows all the details about the mods, and it comes down to up-to-date mod. So presumably this is where it is looking at the details that it has for the mod, and decides whether it's up-to-date and whether it needs to, presumably, download again. This thing gets all the way down here to Wasted's Ignore for testing only, which I think is a false positive here, because it doesn't matter what mod it is, it'll screw it over. And then you see that. There's about a 30 to 45 second gap between that and then suddenly, oh no, the server changed. No, I'm sorry, you're not loading into the world. But then the best part is because as soon as this gets out of here and finishes off trying to, clean itself up here, that's the point where the game says, oh, I can reconnect you. Let me reconnect you to the last PvP server. Which of course was the 10 by 10 by 10 PvP server, which is not running. So then the connection attempt tries to connect, it hangs, and gets stuck there. And then you're having to Alt F4 the game. Or I should say, kill it from Task Manager, because, yeah, it doesn't even want to do that. So, let's... Oh, I was doing that really bad. I wasn't showing you the full zoom on that. Barrel fail. Alright, let's just get back to the game. Try to... Oh, it is here. Okay. It just happened to grab a screenshot from that angle, and... You ever notice when you move around and you have nothing held in your hand that your fingers clench and unclench? Look at that. What's that, Keen? What's the deal with that behavior? And look at what I'm walking here. My fingers keep opening and closing. And I know that the running animation... You're doing it in the running animation, too. What the heck? I mean, not only do I look completely derpy running around with my arm held in front of me for no reason whatsoever, because I'm not holding anything. Unless I hit 0 and then... Oh, that's cute. So... Yeah, we want a realistic physics environment, but... Oh, the salt is going to be flowing tonight. I can feel it in my bones, and already you've... Single player world, and you've already reset the color I was trying to use, too. So many things are supposed to be fixed and easier, and it's not. So yeah, I'm working with the world's smallest violin there. Yes, that sounds about right. Sometimes it seems to be about the level of sympathy that you might get from certain individuals. Let's get this going again. Turn off mirroring. That side in there. I should go for a slightly longer wheelbase this time, because that's the other thing, is I tend to build my wheelbases a little too short. And that usually has pretty negative connotations, because if you're trying to get over rough terrain, the longer the wheelbase you've got, the better off you actually are. Because you can tend to get over a lot of washboard terrain if you're just, slightly longer wheelbase. Turn you off again, left side, rear. This one's looking more like the left and the front and rears are going to still be steering, as opposed to just the forward wheels, but I'm okay with that. Let's also... There. Come on out here. Might be helpful if I just turned on mirroring mode, wouldn't it? Then I can have the game build it for me. Hopefully it's not the gaming rig thinking that it needs to worry about overheating or anything. I mean, I've yanked out the... In the last week, I have yanked out the Elgato capture card I have on it. which was there to actually capture footage off of the backup rig. So if I do something like in, you know, Space Engineer's camera mode, and I want a cameraman, but not to bog down my main system on recording, I can do that. So I've lost that capability now, and then yesterday I pulled out the off-board audio card I had, which was actually powering half of my inputs. So I had to work around that. Found out, surprise, surprise, I didn't know that the Blue Yeti microphone that I have, it basically mirrors your input. So if you're speaking into the microphone, if you listen to the headphone jack, you hear yourself talking as well. And I know TextFire does that, and I believe Wasted does that, just because it's supposed to help understand your audio quality better, that you know you don't kind of hear it if you're talking soft or loud, and you can better judge what you're doing instead of recording and then looking at the recording, which is frankly my preferred option anyways. But yeah, that was a little shock to the system, but I finally figured it out. Managed to reroute enough cabling to still preserve all of my inputs. Virtual audio cables for the win, yada yada yada. Yeah, I know the 5x5 wheels mirror correctly, but the problem with doing it that way is Space Engineer's naming scheme. Because what you're going to see is when I plop down the cockpit here, I'm going to have a much easier time. So actually turn on center of mass, because you know how I love my center of mass, even though this... Yeah, you're not actually showing me the center of mass. Good job, Keen. That remains broken until some random point, which it will actually start showing a center of mass. What's going to happen is, because of the way I set this up, I know that these two are my front wheels. And I know that these two are my rear wheels. I know that these two are my center wheels, where if you start placing them down, it doesn't always feel like it gets wonky with the numbering scheme, with just not wheels for the most part, but just any part. So when I get to a point, like if I need to know LCD screens, rather than sit there and try to figure out, you know, down the road, oh, well, which, like on the Thug Farm, I could place down the LCDs in 1, 2, 3, 4 myself, or I can mirror mode them, and then 1 and 2 might be here, and then 3 and 4 would be on the center, which is just, you know, it doesn't fit my sense of logic and order. Then again, I mean, this is Space Engineers. Logic and order doesn't exactly always filter into it, right? Anywho, we've got a rough base here, and again, kind of keeping with the idea that I want to play around with this as a sort of new design of survival friendly-ish, considering I'm playing in this mode. 2 batteries for power, it's a little extravagant, but you can make 2 off of the default lander. And thing to also want is going to be a solar panel, because that's always a good piece of starting equipment to have. Inevitably, Mr. Solar Panel goes somewhere where I can actually hopefully protect it a little bit. What weirdness is... Oh, right, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, tires mirror perfectly. Solar panels are still foobar. Because you can just kind of see that I've got this one placed in a lovely spot right here, and the other one is going to just sit out over the wheels. Mean. Alright, so that took up a lot of cargo space, but we're going to be okay with that, because I'm going to stick 2 on either side here. Need my mirroring mode back on. Stick 4, actually. Another thing, I usually wind up, and this is kind of just building a very basic... I'm not necessarily going for the final design here. I'm kind of looking at what could I do that I could have that'll work in survival that could be upgradable. I usually have a small reactor on it, and straightforward. I mean, basic cargo. Don't really need anything fancy. Yes, it's not, you know, a cargo connector hooked up, but that will work. Off. And let's just... I mean, dirt, simple. This is the start of survival. You're going to see how well just a basic setup works. First, I want all my wheels. By default, this needs to honestly be changed in the game. The speed limit really should be set low right off the bat, because that's where a lot of this stuff I don't wind up messing around with, but I give it a little more suspension strength. I'm not going to worry about the ride offset or any of the other values, because really this should be all... Oh, that's the other problem, is the default camera zoom on a certain sized grid